Welcome back to Superherocuts Live. For the docket today, we have, did the Superman trailer have an effect on the fandom? The Batman 2 Part 2 has progress, and we are going to address some BS that's going on. First look at Galactus, Superfire, Daniel Day in talks for Magneto, the rumored X-Men cast. Why is it hard for Marvel Studios to get Spider-Man into Avengers Doomsday? Sadie Sink is Mayday in Spider-Man 4. Dun, dun, dun. Damian Wayne is expected to be Robin in the Teen Titans movie. Should Doctor Doom show up in the Fantastic Four movie? Cynthia Erivo playing Storm apparently is possible. The MCU Phase 6 rumors, and Steven Yeun is being considered for a role in Spider-Man 4. Let's get it. Stevie, how you doing?
Good, brother. How are you, man? What's cracking?
I'm good. Yo,
Good.
Wait, real quick, before I meant to say, how do I upload this to my X? Sorry, I should have done that before.
Ooh, I don't think I can do that now because you have to log in. So we can. And we literally just talked about that the other day. We'll talk offline about it. But,
Okay.
But we will, guys. Starting next week, because I can't do it now. We will also be showing on Comic Cuts X, which I'm pretty hyped for. So
yeah,
fire. To see, and I hope that I can't wait to see who comments on his X and see what people are going to pop up there, because Jerry has some interesting followers. So but yeah, bro, I'm doing good, bro. It's been a great week. And by the way, guys, as you see down here below, ask questions, leave comments, we will answer them. Okay, we might not get to them as soon as you comment, but we always answer you guys. You know what I'm saying? So all right, first off, before we get into anything, and we were texting about it, bro, those Battle World comics are bad, brother.
I told you, because here's the thing. Like, the idea sounds like it would be cool. And that's when you're like, oh, man, that does sound cool. Like, more stories on Battle World. And then you read it and you're like, okay, I see why this is it's really dumb.
Bro.
And I know, I saw you have the same thought process that I did, but I've just been on the other side. So
yeah.
It sucks. And you're like, nah, I disagree. It's going to be cool. I'm like, all right.
You told me you were like, go and find out for yourself. And I did. And boy, was I wrong.
And the funny thing is, you read a different one than I did.
Yeah.
And I think it was just the fact that, first of all, you could lay them all out on a table, throw a poker chip in the air, see where it lands. Whichever one it lands on is going to be trash, number one. And you realize that the concept actually isn't cool, because all you're doing is you're limiting these stories that the creators can tell, and you're really taking them out of what makes Marvel Comics so special to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think it works. And
it's just like the same concept for each story. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like after a while it gets a little played out. Like, okay, there's a lot of Thor is great. Now, are we just going to get every kung fu character in Marvel Comics and throw them in a comic? Great, thank you, bro. Like, anyways. But wow. All right, let's get into the docket though, man. So let's talk about this Superman trailer that came out last week. If you guys follow, or if you guys are subbed to Slav, we popped up on his show last week to talk about it. Shout out Slav, love what you're doing over there, my guy. That's our dog, man.
Slav is the homie.
Yeah, that is the bro. So, how do you feel about the Superman trailer? And just what is your mindset today about Superman?
I loved the trailer, and I am so excited for this because, Superman, like, he isn't one of my top favorite characters. And it's not that I don't like Superman. And the chances are I've read more Superman comics than anyone you're going to talk to. So I'm still a bigger Superman fan than most. But I guess my favorite list is probably pretty extensive. And I know some people are like, what? How is he not? Like, it's just not, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I'm always going to keep it real. I am hoping that this movie kind of changes that for me. And the fact that DC is releasing this movie 5 days early in fan screenings, and by the way, that's not, if anyone thinks they're going to let you stream this movie at home before it comes out, you're out of your mind. It's 100% going to be in theaters. They'll never do that. Because they know people are going to figure out a way to rip it, and next thing you know, the movie's going to be pirated. They don't want that.
1,000%.
But the fact that they're releasing it 5 days early to fan screenings, and I'm sure it'll probably be like 10, maybe 15,000 seats will see it. That's a lot of people. And this doesn't 100% mean the movie is going to be great, but it means that DC believes this movie is great. They believe this movie is awesome. You have to understand something. Movies make the most of their money on the first weekend of release. To put it out 5 days early and that word of mouth negatively impact its first weekend in theaters, if they thought that was going to happen, they would not be doing this. So the fact that they are tells you they are 100%. This is the biggest vote of confidence DC could give us before this movie came out. So I think the trailer was great. I think the vote of confidence with this Amazon Prime fan screening is great. And most people have Amazon Prime, and I'm sure those who don't and really want to see it early will probably sign up for it. I know I would. I already have it though. But I think it's a really good sign, and I love it. I think the trailer was great. I think the rollout was great. I think any of us who had criticisms about the rollout, myself included, could all shut up now because James Gunn has proved us wrong. And I think the big thing with this trailer that was different than the rest was we got a better vibe for what this movie is actually going to be like. And, the thing there is the fact that he had to save that for the trailer closest to the release of the movie, because this rollout has been going on for a while. And if he had put this trailer out 2 months ago, people would have kind of forgotten about it. Like, you need to sustain that hype. Not everyone is like us and is thinking about this every single day, Yeah. So, but what do you think?
Nah, man. The trailer was amazing. it was great, and the way it started with, I love how it started with just Lois and Clark, because that's how his story should start, with them two, and obviously, I love that dialogue scene. His voice change from Clark Kent to Superman was also great. I mean, the trailer just had me just enamored with Superman, and I am really, really excited to see it. And I really think like this is like the way that Christopher Reeves was the eye opener to superhero movies for me as a kid, because well, I got fortunate to see Star Wars first, but when it comes to superhero movies, like Reeves was like the first 4 superhero film that my dad made me watch, right? I think this is going to be that for a lot of the kids of now as well. Like, this Superman movie is going to be their first big thing that they're going to experience, because we have been seeing a lot of trash lately in our superhero films, or stuff that just hasn't been up to par to what Superman and Fantastic Four are showing us that they're possibly going to be. So I think this is amazing, and I also think that like this trailer did have a really big effect on fandom. There's a lot of people that I knew in my personal life where they were like, yo, like, this trailer has me locked into Superman. A lot of people weren't. Before you and I, just as you have said, we critiqued his rollouts a lot because we just weren't fans of it. And as you said, he cooked us. He cooked us. I mean, so yeah, man, I am really excited for this movie, and I am ready. Like, obviously, I'm just ready to zoom through June, bro, and just get to July, because July is one of the most important times for the superhero movie genre right now. We have 2 really big, important movies that need to prove themselves, and it's kind of fun. It kind of feels like, it feels like after Kobe left Shaq, and everybody's like, can Kobe win that 4th ring without Shaq? And that's kind of how it feels for me. You know what I mean? Like, I like the high stakes, and how like there's a little comp going on here. It's fun.
Yeah, competition is good. It's funny. I have seen people who normally would hate competition start to realize that, wait a minute, this is going to be really good, because they're constantly going to be trying to one up each other, and we're just going to benefit from it. It's like, welcome to capitalism, bro. Like,
Facts.
yeah,
That's how the world works, baby.
Yeah. So I think it's great. And we will admit when we are wrong. We were wrong about a couple things on the rollout. Granted, we said James Gunn is likely going to prove us wrong on these things. So maybe that's a little different, but we will tell you when we are wrong. We are not like some of the other clowns on the internet. I'm not humble, but I'm certainly not cocky either.
Facts, bro. Facts. Nah, man. Everything is great. And then the one thing that, and also like they've landed everything when it comes to their press runs. Everything they're saying is great. The fact that James Gunn is bringing in Superman writers to let them see the set and have the experience, and the fact that like, and even when he invited a bunch of the content guys to go and see like little pieces of it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just James Gunn. Like he has really done a lot to, number one, put people on, you know what I mean? But also he's really like, you can tell James Gunn put his heart and soul and his because you guys know I'm black, right? So whenever someone cooks something good, they say, you put your foot in that. James Gunn put his foot in the Superman movie, bro. He did, bro. So I can't wait to see what, James Gunn is going to do. Because I mean, his heart and soul is in this. I mean, it's just, and you can tell by the way he talks about it. And by the way that, the cast is locked in. By the way, the dark horse, Nicholas Hoult, bro, dude, he might, and I love Corenswet, but Nicholas Hoult might have the best performance in this movie. I don't know, bro. The shots that I'm seeing of him, it is just, he just is landing Lex Luthor in these trailers with no effort, bro. It is insane, bro.
Yeah.
Man.
So is Corenswet, though. I think there's a lot of talent on that screen.
Oh,
and, I think that we are going to be talking about some of the best castings of all time after this movie. And James Gunn said that basically. He was like, David Corenswet, I think the word was, he was like, David Corenswet is going to blow you away. He's like, you have no idea. And, this is why, like, you got to let, who was it? Oh, dude, what I found out was
what's up?
That when they cast Star-Lord, Peter Quill, it was the casting director that said, I want you to meet with Chris Pratt. And James Gunn was like, the guy from Parks and Rec? He was like, nah. and he did. And he was like, wow. It's like, I'm sold. So, like I always say, put some trust in the people that make these files. They know more than we do. They know more than the person you saw on Twitter that said the same fan cast 1,000 times that they've seen from some other moron on Twitter. And I have it out for the people on Twitter, okay? Because there are all these pages on Twitter, and I'm going on a tangent here, but I have to get this off my chest.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there are all these people on Twitter that their avatar is a superhero, a comic image of a hero, and they love to write their reading lists and their comic recommendations. And I noticed that on the Fantastic Four ones, they all say pretty much word for word, here's my list. They include the Dan Slott one. And they're like, I didn't like it. So I'm like, I was like, you're thinking about my Dan Slott ASM Amazing Spider-Man experience. I was like, I kind of felt like people trashed on him and he didn't always deserve it. He was on the book for a really long time, but a good portion of the runs were really good. And I was like, you know what? And I started doing some research into the Fantastic Four, and I found a lot of people said, I don't understand why this run is hated, yada, yada. They're not as loud as everyone else on Twitter, but people have said that. So I started reading it. I think I'm like 10 issues in, and I've enjoyed it so far, especially it started off really strong. And I have realized that the people that talk comics on Twitter and their entire page is like dedicated to comics and they're completely anonymous, almost none of them think for themselves. And so many people that are in like our superhero corner of the internet do not think for themselves. You see it in the fan cast. You see it in the recommendations. You see it when they say the same exact praise or hate for a movie. And it's like they wait to see how other people react, and that gives them permission instead of just telling you how they really feel. It's so crazy to me. And I think a lot of the criticism towards James Gunn's Superman is that as well. And I don't think it's just the Snyder Cult. Obviously, the Snyder Cult's a big portion of it, but there are a lot of people that hate on James Gunn because they think it's the cool thing to do. Maybe they get it from the Snyder Cult. Maybe they get it from some other clown. It's crazy, though. But, like, people do not watch movies and judge it on their own merit. I felt that way about Flash. I felt that way about Captain America: Brave New World. I felt that way about the way people react to the Superman stuff. And a lot of things with Marvel lately. But, you know, yeah, so it's just crazy. It's crazy. I always knew people were like that from politics, but, like, I figured at least, like, in superheroes, like, people would have the balls to think for themselves, but they don't. They don't. And, you know, now I don't have to follow any of these clowns because I got to tell you, I can't take their politics, and they are so loud about their politics. And, like,
that's annoying.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, like, no one's wrong in the way, like, you're not wrong in the way you feel about it, but it's the way you cover it where your integrity matters. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, look, like, y'all know I'm not for this Clayface crap. Like, but if it's fire, like, I'm gonna admit it's fire. You know what I mean? And that's my issue, bro. It's like, and instead of telling you and instead of telling us, like, how you feel, you just copy and paste Aaron Fisher or whoever these guys are, and you just reword it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so fake, bro. So whack.
Yeah,
so whack.
It's so corny.
But yeah, man. But nah, we are hyped though about this Superman movie, man. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. All right.
Hell yeah.
Let's read a couple chats. Hold your almighty. A person I know plays ball in the same park. And plays ball in the same park I do, came to me and said if I seen the Superman trailer, and he said he loved it and he felt nostalgic watching it. Bro, that music too is fire. The score is hard. It's so annoying seeing them making side-by-side comparison of scenes with Henry versus David. Henry gets attacked by Zod, and then David gets tackled by the engineer, and they like look Gunn, copy, and Zach. I mean, but the thing that I've always said is what is wrong with him taking inspiration from Zach's shots? Zack Snyder is one of the greatest, like, when it comes to putting something on a picture, bro, like on screen, Zack Snyder is one of the greatest guys to ever do that. Like, what is wrong with James Gunn, you know, using some of the, like, maybe getting inspiration from some of those shots? I don't see the issue here. Like, come on, y'all tripping. Yo, Smiles Frown, what's up, my dog? Hope you're doing good, man. All right. Now we're going to the next topic here, talking about the Batman 2. So there is some progress on the Batman 2, which is really good. So we did get some news last week about Matt Reeves and basically saying that, you know, Matt Reeves is about to turn in, and it's on Memorial Day, which is this Sunday or this weekend. He's turning in his first rough draft of the Batman 2, which is awesome. I want to know how you feel about that. And then also we need to talk about these idiots on the internet that have been just lying about the Batman. But how do you feel about, you know, Matt Reeves finally having his draft done, turning it in, you know, he's like prepared to
took a long time. Like, yeah, there were a couple delays in there that were reasonable, but it still took a really long time. And I have a couple of thoughts about that. And basically, number one, we should note that supposedly he has been turning in pages at a time. So a lot of this stuff isn't going to be new to the studio, James Gunn and the studio heads, which is a good thing because we want this draft we want less drafts of this script. The less drafts, the faster it gets made, the better. I just want to see this movie. But unlike everyone else, I've learned to be patient with this stuff. You know, so unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait. I'd rather wait less time, but fact of the matter is we're going to have to wait. The sooner you accept that and stop crying about it on the internet, the sooner you'll stop embarrassing yourself. Now, the other thing here is that, you know, why did it take so long? I know there were some complications and personal things with Matt Reeves, but it's not outside the possibility that they weren't certain which direction they wanted to go creatively. And, you know, that could have been something that held this up. It's possible that the studio receives the script and they say they absolutely love it, start production as soon as possible. It's also possible they send it back and they say, we like this, we don't like that, we like this, we don't like that, yada, yada. So, you know, which way it could go. I think anyone who doubted that this movie was coming is like deserves a chink in their armor of credibility. It was, if you couldn't understand that the first one did $700 million and the Penguin was wildly successful and they were not going to leave the money of the Batman Part 2 on the table, you don't deserve credibility. Like, that's just crazy. So that's number one. I really want to see this movie. I love Pattinson as Batman for the Batman Epic Crime Saga. But why did you go back? You were so away from that. You kind of like, yeah, I read more Scott Snyder Batman. I understand your point. And now last week you're like, yes. And I was just like, oh my God.
Okay. So no, look, right. I understand. No, look, I have said verbatim that I do think it is the best choice to find a new guy, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm 100% against Pattinson being the DCU Batman. But like, it's kind of like it's kind of like how I am with the whole Spider-Man 4 thing, right? I wouldn't mind if it's either, but I understand why they wouldn't go with, like Pattinson. So like, and when I read Scott Snyder, it just told me like, yeah, like you need another guy. You know what I mean? But if they chose Pattinson, I do believe Pattinson is talented enough to change his Batman, which would be hard, but like I think he can do both. You know what I mean? But I do think they're going to go with the other guy, and I'm not mad about it, like I was, before. Like I'm totally over it, But if it happened,
okay,
yeah,
I can understand that.
Yeah,
even though
it's more like that.
The thing is, and we're not going to get too much into it unless you want to respond to what I'm going to say, because if you've been watching the show, you already know how I feel about it. If you're a bit newer, to sum it all up for you, I just think that I love Pattinson as Batman. However, I understand that Pattinson's Batman is a much more reserved, soft-spoken Batman than the kind of Batman they're going to need that's going to be a leader in the Bat family, a leader in the Justice League for the DCU. Basically, it might be the same character, but it's an entirely different role. And I think that they're starting over from scratch. They may as well pick the perfect person for the role instead of just pick the guy that they already have because it's convenient. If Stevie wants to respond to that, we could do it. If not, we're going to get more into the Batman 2 and the direction we're going with the Batman 2.
I have no rebuttals now. Okay. I agree with everything you're saying.
All right. So, we have, if you have been watching the show, I'm a diehard Court of Owls guy. That's the comic that got me into comics to begin with. They are my favorite Batman villain. I think they're the best Batman villain, maybe tied with the Joker, but that's another story. Anyway, I think it's going to be the Court of Owls or Hush. I think they have kind of threw us a number of clues on each to kind of keep everyone on their toes. And I think they were really smart in doing that. It's the Batman Epic Crime Saga. It's a noir mystery. So the Court of Owls or Hush are the perfect choices. If you don't know who they are, the Court of Owls are basically a secret society in Gotham that control everything from the shadows, to the point that when Batman kind of first got wind of them, he was like, he didn't even believe they existed because they were so they were so secretive that he was like, if they exist, I would have known about them. And it shocked him. And then Hush is a childhood friend of his that is just out of his mind and kind of, manipulates other villains. He's also an amazing villain. A lot of people would probably say he might be their favorite Batman villain. So listen, I would prefer Court of Owls, but I would still be happy with Hush. I think both of them would be a great fit. Then there's the other thing that we have to talk about is the fact that the Joker was, in the Batman Part 1. I don't think they did that to say he's going to be the villain of Part 2. I think they just wanted to do some world building and hint that at some point we're going to mash up with the Joker. Obviously, the Riddler is still alive. Obviously, the Riddler's not going to be the big bad. That would be insane. But he was great for the Batman Part 1. I just think that, listen, this movie's going to come out, and I think it's going to be amazing. I just hope that they are confident in the direction they ended up choosing, because I do think that was part of the holdup. I think that this script just took so long that I think there was some creative hesitancy at some point, and I really hope that the direction they went in, they're fully confident in the way they're confident enough with Superman to do a fan screening 5 days before release.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree, bro. I definitely think that it has to be hard for Matt Reeves right now because of the fact that they're doing Brave and the Bold. And there's probably a lot of things that he really can't do because of, and maybe he had ideas to expand a whole lot more because the DCU wasn't a thought when the Batman was coming out. You know what I mean? So there's definitely probably more guardrails, and maybe he had to restructure whole entire story. Like, who knows what was going on behind the scenes. But I do want to talk about some of these liars, bro, because what made me mad was there were people tweeting saying that the Batman is shooting right now and Matt Reeves isn't on set. I'm like, what are we talking about? They don't start shooting until the end of the year. And there were people running with it. And I was seeing TikToks of people talking about this. I'm like, what is going on? And then James Gunn, I'm pretty sure James Gunn said, or James Gunn was like, just to remind y'all, Paz is now gonna be the Batman. He said something of that. And then Deadline talked about, about Matt Reeves finally going to submit his first draft. But it's like, there's been so many lies about the Batman 2 and Matt Reeves. It's so insane, man. People are just crazy. But look, I am happy that a script is turned in. And I do agree it is pretty late, and it did take a long time to submit that script. But I just hope that we get to see a progression in Batman. I want better fighting. I want newer gadgets. I want newer cars. I want newer suit. And I want Matt Reeves to do his thing. So, and then like the other hard thing that I was thinking about is like, when you have a guy like Nolan that you're kind of following up, when it comes to doing maybe a Batman trilogy or something similar to, what he's done, I think that also is hard because you don't want to use the Joker for your sequel because he did. Like maybe that's another thought that he's the thing as well. So it's his job to come up with something that is very creative and something that is out of the ordinary, which is why the Court of Owls would be the best option. Just saying, because that would throw everything for a loop. You know what I mean? That would be awesome.
I think they have to use the Joker at some point, and I don't think it's a problem to do because Nolan did. Maybe on the sequel, I think you probably have a good point there. Yeah. But, there is a reason that everyone knows who the Joker is. And I do think that, again, the, people who don't know what they're talking about on Twitter will say, oh, the Joker's played out, this and that. The Joker's not played out because he's still so interesting and he still is such a good villain. And there's a reason he's like, probably the most iconic villain in all of comic books, So, and it seems like I don't know. I also feel like Barry Keoghan would absolutely crush it if he had his chance to shine as the Joker. I always really liked him as an actor. But I think it's more important to do Court of Owls or Hush first. I think Court of Owls would be insane. But I agree. There's great points. We definitely need some progression and advancement in our Batman. We saw him, kind of grow up as Batman at the end of the file. So yeah, that would be a power move for sure. And it would, I think fans would really, I think that would resonate really well with fans.
Facts. Let's read some chats here. We finally got a Superman with personality. Facts. Up here, I'm kidding. That's like my favorite part of
to
trailer, bro.
To be
that
fair,
was dope.
Tyler Hoechlin had a pretty solid personality for Superman. I don't think it was as fun or playful because he was a father dealing with kids who had powers in a small town. But he did have a personality. So.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad Superman. Top 3.
He was great.
And a lot of people say he's top. Like a lot of people have him as 1.
A lot of people have him as 1. That's a fact.
I'm looking forward to the Batman 2, but I really want the Brave and the Bold. Like, I don't want to wait till 2029, 2030 to see Robin and the DCU. My hope is that Brave and the Bold releases in 2028. We'll see, bro.
I
We gotta get through this first.
I think there's a couple of things with this. I think that they, number one, don't want to release the Batman Part 2 and the Batman Brave and the Bold in the same fiscal year. But at the same time, I think they want to get the DCU Batman to market quickly following up from Superman. They know that to build this universe and to hold on to that hype, they're going to have to put the Brave and the Bold out pretty quickly. And I think it would be wild if we're waiting for Batman the Brave and the Bold to come out in 2029 or 2030. That's a major problem for the DCU.
Yeah, bro. And the thing is, once you announce Brave and the Bold, fans will not care about the Batman 2. I'm telling you, like the core. I'm saying like but I'm saying like the core fans are like, yeah, let's just zoom through this and we can get through. No, like I do think announcing Brave and the Bold, like to an extent, like just takes the attention off of the Batman 2. Just let the Batman 2 run its course. But just saying, bro, like, what if Batman does pop up as Superman? That changes a lot. So we'll just have to see what happens, bro.
Yeah. And I think it's very probable just off the fact of how big the time, if they have a Batman cameo in Superman and they tie that with the announcement of the DCU Batman casting, the hype, the box office boost it would be insane. So I think it's very likely that happens. Number one. Number two, I think that if the Brave and the Bold is coming out and they announce it, what do I think that's going to do to the Batman Part 2 hype? I think that there's going to be a pretty even split with and I'm not saying even split on numbers, but I think there would be two groups. I think there would be the group that is just, they see a shiny new toy and they're so excited and they just want that. And then there's going to be the fans that really love and appreciate a slow burn type of story like the Batman Part 1, and they are going to, and I think that's a bit like kind of like the smarter fan, and that fan is still going to want the Batman Part 2 just as much as the Brave and the Bold.
Fair. Two things can be true. I like him being the Hannibal Lecter type. I don't know who that is.
Hannibal Lecter is he's a cannibal. He's like Anthony Hopkins movies.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's older, but it's like an iconic. Yeah.
Fire. My hope, based on everything we know, James Gunn said 6-year plan: 2025 Superman, 2026 Supergirl, 2027 Titans, and the Batman 2, 2028 Brave and the Bold and GL movie, 2029 World Finest and Wonder Woman movie, 2030 JL, 2031 JL sequel. That would.
People are starting to say that the next big movie, the first crossover movie for the DCU, is actually a World's Finest movie. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know where it's coming from, so I don't know if it's legit or not. But I've been seeing people talk about that. What'd you say?
No, I saw that on X too. I saw the X about it. That would be crazy.
I would prefer Justice League. I really would. I don't think a World's Finest movie is the right move for the first crossover movie. And I don't like the idea of Supergirl being the second movie.
That's ridiculous. Oh no, the pillar thing just drives me insane. I can't believe they said a Supergirl pillar of the DCU. That drives me crazy, bro. Like, out of all, you're telling me Green Lantern is less of a pillar than Supergirl? Like, out of all the characters, that is insane to me. Like,
for so many reasons.
That's crazy. But yeah, man. Real Anarchy, what's up, homie? Hope you're doing well, man. We had a fun time on the show with you last week with Slav, bro. So shout out to you. Sub to him, guys. He had
that was great
awesome content.
Real Anarchy.
Facts.
The homie.
What if Matt Reeves has been using this extra time to completely restructure his original plan, quietly retrofitting the Batman and a sequel to fit into the DCU? Thoughts?
I think it's less likely. Because James Gunn has said 1,000 times that's not what they're doing. If he turns around and is doing something completely different, he's going to lose a lot of credibility. So I think it would be crazy of him to have so adamantly said that's not happening, and then they do it. I don't know if you heard me, Real Anarchy, but I said the main reason I don't think it's the right move, and I think James Gunn recognizes it, is that while Pattinson is a great Batman, he is not the right guy for the role of the Batman in the DCU. I think you need a louder Batman who isn't as soft-spoken and reserved to be the leader of the Bat family and the Justice League. So I think you need a new guy. No shade on Pattinson. I think he's a great actor. I believed in him from day one for the Batman. I just don't think he's the right guy for the DCU. I think James Gunn recognizes that too.
If that is the case, that will be the craziest okey doke ever. That would be so crazy. And I do think that Matt Reeves is talented enough to write a fantastical Batman. Like, he has the ability to do it.
But he said he never wanted to do that.
For sure. But he definitely could. Like if he wanted to, he has the talent to do it.
For sure.
So think about this, right? And I was reading this, like, there is a certain style that he's going for with these movies. You know what I mean? And
who, James Gunn?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he used like the same visual effects people for like from the Flash. And I literally saw like
the cinematographer.
Yeah. And like I saw a color grading like comparison, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he used the same costume guy, the same cinematographer, and like two other people that worked on the Flash. So I do think he's going for a look. And I think that he's looking for a certain director that fits whatever that look and vibe is, you know. And Matt Reeves' Batman is so distinct and different that will be very hard to switch off to an extent, because you do have to switch it off a bit for it to fit into this fantastical, you know, DCU. And I understand the map idea where, like, you know, each map has its different thing, but regardless of the map, you know, there are going to be certain differences. And my thought process is, while Matt Reeves is working on the Batman 2, someone else is working on the Brave and the Bold script, or not that Brave, someone else is working on the Brave and the Bold script. So I think someone else is possibly working on it. But if it is passing, as I said, that would be crazy. And, you know, I have a lot of victory laps that I would need to run. So Real Anarchy, I would love to come on your show. I would love to go on Slab's show and just, you know, and some other shows that trashed me on the internet for my takes, and, you know, get some of my lick backs. But yeah, man, that would be crazy if that's true. That would be insane.
The other thing, though, like on him, Matt Reeves, I'm pretty sure that was like one of his make it or break it factors for the deal, was that he was like no shared universe. I think that was like his thing from day one. So yeah. I don't think he wants to do it. I think he is kind of, I don't know if I would say he's an auteur, but if he's not, he's pretty damn close. I think James Gunn said he's an auteur. So if James Gunn's going to call him one, I would call him one. But for those of you that don't know, an auteur is a director whose style is so distinct that you don't need to know they directed it when you're watching it. If you're watching their file, you know that's Matt Reeves. So, you know, he's kind of, I feel like he's kind of like Nolan in that way. And like, he didn't want to do the shared universe. Like you couldn't get Christopher Nolan to do a Batman movie. Christopher Nolan famously said, I made the Dark Knight trilogy, so I didn't have to make superhero movies after that. You know, like some of these guys, they're very artsy. They kind of look down on superhero movies. They do them because they get them to a certain place, but that's just kind of how they are. Like Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, a lot of these auteur, like super artsy directors, they just don't look at superhero movies the way we do.
Yeah. Very fair and great take, brother.
Thank you.
Exactly. Glad we're on the same page on that. I can't see WB/Gunn waiting 2029 for the DCU Batman, which is why I'm thinking summer of 2028.
We're always on the same page, Hunger. I feel like we got to get you on the show at this point.
Facts. Yeah. He gives advice to the detective, so Joker could be like that at first.
Wait, can you go back to that one?
Yeah.
He gives advice to the detective, so Joker. Who gives advice to the detective?
Yeah. It's coming from Jeff Steiner. Oh, you're talking about the Justice. I don't know. You were talking about the world's finest. Yeah, that would be
So,
crazy if world finest does get knocked.
yeah. And by the way, now that I think about it, with the 2029, the only way they could potentially do it is if they had like other big projects going on in 2026, 2027, 2028. I would say maybe, but it's still a dumb move to have Batman be the guy that you're making people be that patient for. You know, DC, they're not doing what Marvel did, right? Like Marvel started with Iron Man. We didn't get Spider-Man until much later. We're not even getting the Fantastic Four until this summer. And they started with characters that were lesser known, and they made you care about them. DC's not doing that. We're starting with Superman, okay? You know what people are not going to say? Oh, I really want to see Supergirl. Batman could wait.
Yeah. And also, like, if Sony said to us, hey, Tom Holland is doing his own MCU Spider-Man Homecoming, but we want to do an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 3, both movies would be heavily successful regardless. So it's like, does it really matter to hold it back that long? No.
Like, I think the DCU needs the Batman. That's the thing. That's not the Batman Part 2. I think DCU needs its Batman.
Yeah. But I was saying, like, if Marvel had a similar situation where like they were trying to juggle Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland trying to finish Garfield's story, but like star Holland, they could have released both, not at the same time, but you know what I mean, like with years apart, and both movies would have been as successful. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think the DCU with or James Gunn with Batman has that same luxury because Batman is such a popular character.
Yeah.
James Gunn's Justice League International.
I hope it's not. I hope it's just Justice League. I don't want Justice League.
I need the JL, bro.
I don't want Justice League Unlimited. I don't want Justice Society of America. If anything, JLA.
No Frontier, like none of that.
So JLA is Justice League America, where that I could do. I'm sure a lot of people would lose their minds because they can't even handle Captain America representing America. But
right, exactly, bro. Hey, if y'all get mad, do my hometown, Justice League Delaware. I'll play.
Justice League Kentucky.
Justice League Kentucky. The logo is the freaking UK sign, the college. That'll be funny.
Yeah.
JLK.
Yeah.
Bro, I just want the Green Lantern movie so bad. Bro, that show's gonna be insane, bro.
Yeah.
That show's gonna be insane. That was fun, bro. It was fun. It was a fun
blast.
We would have another Snyder situation. I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. Hopefully Lantern blows everyone's socks out to where Gunn and Safran go look at that and they're like, we need to make a Green Lantern movie with John and Hal. If they do that, I'm willing to wait for Brave and the Bold.
I don't think that's one character. That's like their one character other than Superman that I think could get people to be patient. That and maybe Flash. But they haven't even mentioned Flash yet.
Yep. DC YouTuber The Truth 31. The Truth has been in our he pops in our chats every now and then. Thinks the WB will cancel the Batman 2 if Superman is successful. Reasoning being WB doesn't want two competing Batman universes. What do you think? I do not agree. I do not think they will cancel the Batman 2 if Superman is successful. They need money, and the Batman is a proven money maker.
Yeah, and it's going to be completely different Batman movies. Like, we still got Spider-Verse while we were getting No Way Home. It's and yes, it's a different Spider-Man, but it's the same brand at the end of the day.
100%. I mean, the 6+ hours of Lanterns for me is better than a 2.5 or 2.5 hour Green Lantern movie, but I like TV shows a little more. See, like the only thing that gets me excited about this is that this is going to be on HBO Max, and like HBO just knows, like Warner Brothers and HBO, when it comes to TV shows, they just know what to do. So
they are the king of quality when it comes to TV series.
100%. They just know what they're doing. And like Netflix has it good too, but Netflix does better movies. HBO just gets the TV show format.
Oh, I disagree with that. First of all, Netflix, I don't think they do a good job with movies at all.
Really?
Yeah, I think they crush it when it comes to their shows. I don't think they've been doing as well with shows as of late.
Yeah, I think shows been lately.
For a while, they were just putting out so much heat. And Netflix has a big leg up on everyone. It's the fact that they were doing this before anyone.
Yep.
They wanted to work with everyone. No one wanted to work with them. And what they have is data. When they make something, they know who's going to watch it. They know how they're going to watch it in terms of pausing and when they're going to watch it and all that. Netflix crushes it. They know so much about their customer, and that is why they crush it.
100%. I still think that like HBO has better like if we're talking concrete shows that are like generational, I think HBO just got it. And another dark horse is Apple, bro. Apple TV is cooking right now.
I've been thinking about them lately, and I was like, the way you talk about Amazon is how I feel about Apple right now.
They're on the rise, bro.
I'm loving Your Friends and Neighbors. I really like the studio. I keep putting off starting it, but I'm going to start Severance. Some of the people I know have said like it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
High
praise. Ooh, yeah. There's no way Gunn cast an Air Pierre, an upcoming actor on his way to greatness, and you don't give him a movie. The representation there, excuse me, and Kyle Chandler with him is how the money's right there. I agree. They will have a movie, trust.
Yeah.
And I believe that Reeves is a producer on many DCU Batman adjacent projects, so he is somewhat involved, and he seems like a huge Batman fan. Yeah, having Reeves would be awesome. Hannibal Lecter. Oh, you're saying Joker is like Hannibal. Okay. I got you. Batman almost always makes bank, except for one movie we don't talk about anymore. HBO means home box office. The shows are supposed to be from Guadalajara, bro. They cook, bro. HBO cooks. All right. Next topic for you guys, man. I want to talk about Mr. Galactus. So we got our first look at Galactus in Fantastic Four First Steps, played by Ralph Neeson. Bro, how do you like this look for Galactus?
Oh, I love it, bro. He looks perfect. It's funny. My dad actually just sent me a text while we were live, and he was like, he doesn't watch any of these movies, but he whenever he sees something news that he thinks I would like, he would send it, and it says, the Fantastic Four concept art shows we were robbed of perfect character design.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy, because the Fantastic Four, I just feel like all the designs these are some of the best designs Marvel has ever done. They are perfect. Anyone who complains about this Galactus look is just ridiculous. What more could you ask for? Seriously.
Bro, they even did the glowing eyes. they're going off right now. And also Matt Shackman made me very happy. And I sent you that article where he said he's reading all of them. He's reading North. He's reading Stan Lee stuff. He's reading Wade. He said he read Hickman. He said that like that because I think they asked him, did he use the movies as a source? He said something like, I am not using the past movies. I'm using the source material, the actual comic books. So that really made me happy. I think, every costume design that we have seen so far, bro, has been just amazing. It's been utterly amazing. So I am sold. And by the way,
he also said John Byrne. I think he said Walt Simonson. He said all the good, the bet, and it's just you want a guy that is reading the right comics and not just like one or two or three. He's obviously really doing the deal. And kind of like we spoke about recently, if you really, really want to get to know a character, you got to read multiple runs on that character. You see a different perspective, a different take, a different style, all of that. And, he's just going to crush it with this, man. And they are treating Fantastic Four with so much care, and it comes through in everything from the character designs, from Matt Shackman's answer on the comics, from the trailer and the story. They are using what's her name? Shalabal instead of Norrin Rad, which is ridiculous. But other than that, I got no complaints. I really don't.
Yeah, bro. And look, I am also happy that he is that this is a guy that has done good before. And hey, if he lands this, give him the trilogy, bro. Honestly, if this movie is what they say it is,
Yeah.
give him the trilogy, bro.
Yeah.
Shoot, even shoot it. And if he cooks with this, give him an Avengers movie at this point. I'm just saying, bro. Like,
Yeah.
him and apparently the Thunderbolts, the director, is also in talks to take X-Men. So they have a couple of good guys in their corner.
You know what? We should have added that to the docket, but whatever. I'll just say it here.
What's up? Go ahead.
The reason Jake Schreier is so perfect for X-Men is because Thunderbolts was a team of outcasts coming together, and that's exactly what the X-Men are. They're a team of outcasts that dealt with hardship throughout their life because they are outcasts, and then they come together and they form something really special in the X-Men. So he's the perfect guy for that franchise within the MCU, and I really hope that they give it to him because I think he is the perfect guy for the MCU's X-Men.
Well, we have 2 X-Men topics because there's some stuff I want to talk about you with X-Men. I read some interesting stuff about where Feige wanted to go and what Iger is against Feige doing. So we will definitely talk more because I really want to hear your introspection. Okay, now let's get to Mr. Daniel Day. So there's a rumor going around, and it's been reported by valid people, obviously, but that Daniel Day is in talks to be Magneto, and that he's being like he is the top runner for this role. How do you feel about, and as you being a Magneto expert, how do you feel about Daniel Day being in talks for this role?
So I love that he's a great actor. He really is. I saw a couple of people complaining about him. Like, nah, this guy is one of the most talented actors in the game, period. He has Jewish heritage. He's not really Jewish. I would prefer someone who actually is Jewish and could understand a little more about being Jewish. I'm so tired of representation counting for everyone else except for Jewish people. But whatever. He is a great actor. I think he would crush it in this role. I think that people are really discrediting him. If you have seen really any of his movies, files, you would understand that this guy is the real deal.
Yeah. So Daniel Day is a method actor. I was doing some research because a lot of his projects are before Demontage. So I asked my dad about him. I was like, Dad, who is this guy? And my dad talked about some movie that came out in the 90s about something with like the left leg or something. And my dad was saying that and in this movie, he played a person that was wheelchair bound. And he said that like he remembers press, and they were saying that like during the whole entire filming time, he lived in that wheelchair. They said he lived like he was wheelchair bound for like 6 months, and if he's willing to do that, and my dad also said that like he's very choosy with his roles, and he did an Abraham Lincoln file, and I watched a bunch of clips on it, and he did good. And Abraham, if you don't know who Abraham Lincoln is, right? he is a person that is very clear on his convictions. And with a person like Magneto, he models that same type of thing. His convictions are very clear. There is no gray area. And if he applies that same level of method acting to Magneto, and this is going to be wild. And this might be a crazy comparison, but like the way that people view Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, they're going to view him as Mags. If he's able to really apply that method to this character, I think this could be like one of the greatest, castings of all time. If it happens, and if he really like gets and becomes everything that this character is, I think that this could be something special, bro.
Yeah,
I really do.
So what I really loved him in was Gangs of New York and There Will Be Blood. So Gangs of New York, he plays like Gangs of New York was an old New York gangster movie, like not the mafia, like gangs. And then There Will Be Blood was wild. I mean, that was like about oil barons and, oil miners and, prospectors and like kind of like the oil when California had a lot of oil, and it was crazy. I think it won Oscar for Picture of the Year. Actually, my grandfather, it's funny. I call them files. My grandpa, he always said, "We're going to the picture."
Old school.
Yeah, he was wild. But yeah, so I think this guy would crush it. It's crazy. A lot of people, like I said, are kind of like, nah, he's not the right guy. But you don't know what you're talking about. This guy, he would probably be one of the most talented actors to ever be in a comic book movie.
Yeah. Nah, he is very well respected. And like on my TikTok, so many people were saying like, yes, we need it. So like, it's, whenever people comment like that, and I was even reading some of the tweets like on the bigger, pages that people were just like, if this happens, like this will be insane. So
yeah,
that would be fun. And look, obviously the Denzel stuff is fake because Denzel already said he's in Black Panther 3, which people are so dumb for thinking that this is a real thing. But like the fact that they are trying to get an actor like him to play this role, it just shows that they're really trying to go for it.
Yeah, I also think they really want to move away from the Fox X-Men cast. I think they're going to give them a really special send-off in the upcoming Avengers cycle. But at the same time, I think similar to like the DCU, they're like, we want to have a new, fresh thing. And in order to do that, we need new faces and new actors. And we can't have people watching this and feeling like it's still something that from the past. And in order to do that, you need to bring in new talent. You need to bring in a new cast. And if you have Michael Fassbender, as great as he was, and as much as we all love him, and if you've been watching the show, Stevie and I are diehard for Fassbender Magneto. But if you want this to feel fresh, new, and different, you can't have Fassbender Magneto. So
another guy, I forgot to add this to the docket, but we'll just talk about it now. Another guy that was rumored for Professor X is Bryan Cranston. I
saw that. He is a great actor, by the way.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
That would be insane, bro. That would be insane.
I think he would crush it.
Yeah. And if that's true, bro, they really are going for it, bro. They really are, bro. So yeah, man, shout out to we hope that this is true, and that they're about to go through it. So let's read some chats and then we'll get to our next X-Men topic here. Let me see. He better have read Hickman about the Fantastic Four, especially going into Doomsday. I feel like his run on Fantastic Four was a precursor to his Avengers run.
I think that for the purposes of making a Fantastic Four movie, I think Hickman is important to read. Hickman is that guy that you really get to see, similar to like the way I talk about The Dark Knight. You kind of get to see their beliefs and philosophies and values put to test in Hickman stories, but in getting the everyday feel of the personality and who these characters are and their chemistry and dynamics, I would actually say the Mark Waid run and the Ryan North run are better to pull from for that aspect. I'm not saying they're better than the Hickman run. I'm just saying that I think that you could get different things and what those different things are. And I think that the characterizations and the chemistry dynamics that you get from the Waid and Ryan North run are probably better than you would get from the Hickman run.
Yeah. All topic and just popped up on my phone. So the co-writer for the Thunderbolts, he said that in his original draft for the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, obviously now with the post-credit scene, we saw one with the cereal boxes, and then the second post-credit scene that we saw was obviously the Fantastic Four ship popping up. But he said that in his words, he said, so I was throwing together a post-credit sequence that had to deal with Kang. Oh, we were originally going to get Kang the Conqueror at the end of Thunderbolts. Oh my gosh. Hurts, bro.
Man,
hurts.
I don't know if we'll ever get Kang again in the MCU. Like, and if we are, it'll be in like 10 to 20 years.
100%. 100%. Definitely with the mutant 10-year saga thing that they're doing, we're definitely not gonna see him for a while.
Yeah.
And I promise you, they're gonna find a Jonathan Majors look-alike. I'm telling you, watch. They're gonna find somebody that reminds us of him. Let's see. Justice for Norman Rad, facts. Phase 8 is looking pretty effing fire. Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that. We are gonna talk about Phase 6 and all this stuff because if these rumors are true, it's gonna be crazy. Phase 7 looks fire. I don't know how much. Oh, sorry. I don't know much about his acting, but at least he has the look and it's not a black Magneto. Facts, bro.
That would have been ridiculous.
Facts. He takes it to the extreme, but he never like tries to send condoms to people. Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
I think he could be a great Magneto. They just need to keep the Holocaust background. Facts, bro. I agree. I swear, if Marvel really went with a black Professor X and Magneto, the internet discourse of toxicity would be at its peak. You will have the X and Mags is based on MLK and Malcolm X, then the people that constantly scream woke going crazy. Yeah, facts. And like the thing is that like we had our Black Panther. Like we're good. You know what I mean? Like we have our Black Panther, and now like let the Jewish folks enjoy the characters that are based on their culture. That's
seriously, it's crazy. It's like simple. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Like Captain America has Captain America, right? So it's not.
And wrong. This is one of the reasons that like they shouldn't be doing gender swaps or race swaps. Like they should just do what needs to be done. And like because once you break that boundary, next thing you know, everyone's like, oh, well, what about this one? And what about that one? And it's like, if you keep it the way it is and you say no to all of it, then everyone feels respected.
100%. Hollywood is going to Hollywood. Just don't F around with Magneto. I'm very big on this because he is next to Doom and Joker as my favorite villains. He is goated, bro. He is goated.
He really is.
Marvel is like Kang who. Facts, bro. They don't know who Kang is anymore, bro. All right, now we're gonna get to some of the X-Men stuff. So I want to talk about the X-Men rumored cast that is. Oh gosh, I want to talk about the X-Men rumor cast that is going on right now. So the rumor cast for the MCU X-Men, according to a Hollywood insider, that also revealed the Fantastic Four cast. So Nicholas Galtazine for Angel. If you don't know who he was in an Amazon Prime movie called The Idea of You with Anne Hathaway. Really, really good film. Drew Starkey as Iceman, Daisy Edgar Jones as Jean Grey, Patrick Schwarzenegger as Cyclops, and Logan Lerman as the Beast. So how do you feel about this rumored cast for the X-Men?
I love that I don't know who like all of them are. I know of Patrick Schwarzenegger. I obviously have heard of him. I know he was in White Lotus recently. I tried to get into it. It's all right. Like it's good. I could enjoy it. It's just not something I want to waste my time watching. I've heard good things about him, but I haven't seen him in anything myself.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard of Daisy Edgar Jones. Like her name sounds familiar, but I don't know if that is just like such a long name. Like
you might have heard of her during Gladiator 2 because she's real close with Paul Mescal. So that's maybe where you heard of her.
I also kind of think it's ridiculous when people like make sure their middle name isn't included with their name. It's like so pretentious, but whatever. Doesn't mean she's a bad actress, you know. And I like that I don't know of these actors. That's what I really like about it. I like that it's not one of the fan castings that everyone copies each other on X.
I agree. So Logan Lerman as Beast is the one that I will be very interested to see because I grew up. So Logan Lerman, if you don't know, he was Percy Jackson, which is like growing up for me, like one of the. Do I have it right here? Oh, here we go. Just to show you guys, like Percy Jackson is like one of my favorite books of all time. And grew up reading that, and so I have like a love for this dude because he made this cool for me, right? And so him as Beast, bro, that will be very interesting because he's never, at least from what I've seen, he's never really played an intellectual character. So I think that's a very interesting casting if true. And with Patrick Schwarzenegger, he definitely looks like a Cyclops. Like he looks like he could, like based off of looks,
Yeah.
he's got it. But I was reading what some other people. I was kind of reading. I don't want to say negatives, but I was reading some people that like weren't really in favor of it, and some people were saying that based on his acting roles, they said they never see him portray like a leader or someone that is going to kind of take the helm. And then they were even saying like even if you watch his interviews, he's not as strong spoken as you need Cyclops to be. So people were questioning kind of his like, is he going to be able to show that kind of vibrato in the movie? So we would just have to see. But the castings look cool to me, man. It looks cool.
Yeah.
And we need a Wolverine. We need a Wolverine.
I can totally see. I don't know. I don't like the idea of Patrick Schwarzenegger as Cyclops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, facts.
I've heard some bad things about him. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I mean, and apparently he's near where they're shooting Doomsday, so who knows what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do need a young Wolverine, man. So I hope that they're working on that behind the scenes too. Yeah. I do not want Hugh Jackman back.
With my take on the new actors for the X-Men, that's the only one that trips me up because it's very clear that they want all new actors, but at the same time, they obviously love how easy it was for Deadpool and Wolverine to do $1.3 billion because that movie, listen, it was fun, but like it wasn't that good. And everyone, again, a lot of the fandom just doesn't think for themselves. And what happens is you get a movie like that, it comes out and they get all swept up in the hype and they love it. And then like a year later, they rewatch it when they're not under the influence of like social media, and they'll finally be able to, give themselves permission to say they didn't like it if they don't like it. But what's interesting to me, I said on Threads recently that Spider-Man No Way Home is the best post-Endgame MCU movie. And first of all, I mean, it did really well. I got a lot of likes, but I also got a lot of comments that were like, oh, well, you only liked it because of the three Spider-Man and the cameo porn. And I'm like, it's funny you say that because when I was watching it the first time, the second that Andrew and Toby showed up in the screen, I was like annoyed. I hoped the whole time that it wasn't true because I hate when these movies, use cameos and like in place of plot. But Spider-Man No Way Home actually did it really well. So what I think happened was similar. What I think is going to happen with Deadpool and Wolverine. I think people saw Spider-Man No Way Home. I think a lot of them were like, oh, and now they look at it like everyone just liked it from the cameos. And now they're like, oh, I'm smart. I recognize that people overrated it because of the cameos, but it's actually a really good movie. But these people are going to let themselves think they're smart. And with Deadpool and Wolverine, I think it's very similar. I think people are going to look at it and they'll be like, everyone else liked it for the cameos, but me, a year later, I'm going to recognize that I'm going to pretend I never liked this movie because of the cameos. I think that's going to happen with Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think that Marvel probably feels like they got away with like murder with that movie because it was fun. But like some people say it's the best MCU movie ever, which is so
what?
insane. Yeah. It was a lot of cameo porn and, but again, it wasn't that good of a movie and it did 1.3 billion. So maybe they do want to hold on to Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. And like, I like having fun movies, and Deadpool, I think a movie like Deadpool is supposed to be that. It's supposed to be fun,
But it tried to be a little more. And real quick, before I get to that, I wanted to say that, I forget what I was going to say else. But Hugh Jackman, I think they probably do want a new Wolverine and they probably do want to move away with it. And maybe they just do a sequel to Deadpool Wolverine that's like not really part of the main X-Men story going on in the MCU, which is kind of what Deadpool and Wolverine was. It wasn't really like the main part of the MCU. It was kind of like its own thing in the corner. But it did have a really stupid concept, and I hope they don't continue with it. And that is the anchor being. I never liked that concept. I think it's so dumb. It makes no sense. There's so many plot holes in just the idea like, oh, the anchor being, well, let me guess, it's always going to be an Avenger or it's always going to be a superhero. It's never going to be like a Steve Jobs type person who's has nothing to do with superheroes, but he's still really important to the advancement of humanity. You know, it's not going to be like Benjamin Franklin. It's always going to be someone who's superpowered. It's like, it makes no sense. Just
yeah, I agree. Yeah, the anchor being thing failed miserably. Just leave it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but nah, bro. Like, I think that this cast is strong. And Patrick Schwarzenegger, if this true, bro, you got something to prove, man. You got something to prove, bro. Yeah, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see Angel. I've always liked Angel, just as a character. He's always had cool costumes. I always liked characters that fly. Yeah. I think Angel could be a really very popular character in the MCU.
I don't like him that much, but I think they could do cool things with him.
Yeah, he'd be fun.
Also the problem with offering the wrong, when you're Marvel, the problem with offering the wrong role, a good role to the wrong actor is the wrong actor's going to take it. You know, like, it'd be stupid not to. So and like Patrick Schwarzenegger is like so hungry for like fame and success that if they offer him the role, he'll take it. They can offer him less than the other guys, he'll take it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and just off of the actors I know, I thought Nicholas would have been Cyclops before Patrick. Just saying.
Nicholas Hoult?
No, this guy, Nicholas Galazine.
Oh, I can see it. That's
he's
the guy on the left.
Bro. He's a good actor, bro. He's a good actor, bro.
I don't know if I've seen him in anything.
Yeah, he is a good actor, and he gives me more Cyclops vibes off of his acting and looks than Patrick does. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see, man. We'll have to see, because we'll have to see what happens, because Marvel, they miss sometimes, but when it comes to the big castings, they usually land them. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about. The cast looks great. Now the question is Wolverine. My hope is that they don't cast someone too old for Wolverine. The actor needs to be the same age as Patrick, around 35-ish, or Henry Cavill, but we could talk about that later. So based on this cast, it's looking like they are going with the OG5. But do you think Wolverine should still be in it? I feel like Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, and Jean should be the main four. We're going to talk about Storm in a little bit, but I do think that Storm and Wolverine should be in this X-Men movie. But I wouldn't be shocked if they use this 5 to kick off the X-Men franchise. But if we're talking about from a sales standpoint, from like characters that fans know, Wolverine and Storm should be in this movie. I like Spider-Man No Way Home. It's pretty well written, and the cameos were actually characters. Facts. Love that movie. And by the way, one of the best rewatches ever. I love rewatching that movie, bro.
I watched it again this past weekend.
Really?
It is so good. I love that movie. I really do.
It is. And it's aged so well, bro. It really has aged very well.
The third act, the movie just gets better and better. Like, it is so good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The best MCU movie we are forgetting is the Go Iron Man 2 best War Machine has been, bro. That final scene where they're in that freaking garden in that dome. Yeah.
That was so sick.
Peak, bro. He's like, Brody, duck. He takes them all out. Oh my gosh.
Very underrated.
Oh yeah. And Elseworlds, Elseworlds crazy. I hated the Angry Bean concept. Absolute garbage. Facts.
I hated it from day one.
Yeah. And there is always a possibility. And what is funny is they tried to say, and Wanda Vision on one of those little TV ads that they remember when they would do like little like TV ads in the show that was like themed. One of the TV ads said that Wanda was a Nexus being. So I thought that was what they were doing. But then they went with Anchor. It's like they didn't know what they were doing, bro. They were just confused.
Hopefully they pretend it never happened.
Yeah. And it feels like Loki was like the wrap up of all that crap. Or really feel like Loki was like the wrap up of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's the first OG class effing perfect.
Yeah.
And there is always a possibility that an actor you don't think will work, but could be perfect casting in retro. Facts, bro. Patrick Schwarzenegger could kill it. He could. Like, You never know. I think
True.
Storm should be saved, do first class, and let's not call it for first class, please. Introduce us to the characters facts, but I do not want that joint to be named first
I
class.
thought it was a cool name. I don't think it should be named it again, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, don't you use it again?
Yeah.
First class is fire though, bro. I haven't rewatched that in a long time.
So good. That's my favorite X-Men movie.
When is the last time you watched it?
Probably a year ago.
A year ago? Yeah. I'm definitely going to check it out this week. Then go giant size cast with Wolverine, Storm, and Colossus. Oh, bro, Colossus. I love Colossus. Wait, where's Nightcrawler, bro? He might come in the second one. Who knows? I just rewatched The Maze Runner, such a cool movie from 2014.
I've never seen it.
Feels like, really? It is a good movie. Feels like Hunger Games, but I know it doesn't compare to superheroes. But your thoughts toward those? I think Maze Runner is awesome. I think Hunger Games, the original Hunger Games movies that they did were awesome. This new stuff, these prequels are trash. Okay. And I know that they are making another Hunger Games prequel. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, bro. But the original Hunger Games films are all gas. I have them on Blu-ray, even though I don't even have a Blu-ray player. But by the time I got them, and I also bought them on Amazon Prime. Like, I love the Hunger Games files, bro. They're fire. What if the first X-Men movie is the classic 5, and then the second movie they do the X-Men 97 roster? Why not give us everyone now?
I think they should go with what's popular right now because they needed to do well, they needed to succeed, and I just don't think. I think more people would be happy with like the most popular X-Men than the 5 OG roster.
Agreed. Like, give us the X-Men 97 roster without Jubilee. Jubilee is very annoying. I can't stand her.
I think you got to have Cyclops. You got to have Wolverine. You got to have Storm. You got to have Charles. You got to have Magneto. And, I think it's obvious that they're going with Mr. Sinister for the villain. So that's cool. Probably have to have Jean Grey in there. And I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
At a minimum.
Yeah. And avoid the Phoenix Force for a while.
Definitely.
An underrated roster we see in Wolverine and the X-Men, Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast.
By the way, avoiding the Phoenix Force also means avoiding Avengers versus X-Men.
Facts. Bro, another thing too, that's what I forgot, bro. Like, you can do eras with this X-Men. Like, even after 10 years, you could do another team with the Emma Frost and the Wolf. Like, bro, X-Men it's content galore, bro. It really is, bro. It's content galore. By the way, I was off topic. I was watching that Hickman podcast, and it does hurt hearing him say that, like, he is a little upset that he wasn't able to, like, actually finish his X-Men story.
Yeah.
Like, and he said it, like, and he said himself, like, he said, and you remember, he said it pains him that he couldn't like finish his Krakoa story. So it sucks.
It sucks.
All right, now let's get into the next topic here. Oh, my bad. I got the wrong topic. All right, now let's talk about Miss Sadie Sink. Okay, so Sadie Sink, obviously, she was announced to be in Spider-Man 4. She was officially announced at CinemaCon, which was awesome. But now people are saying that Sadie Sink is Mayday Parker, and some people were speculating that she's the daughter of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. What? So, how do you feel about Sadie Sink possibly being Mayday Parker, bro?
I hate it so much. I do not. I think Mayday Parker is a mistake. I don't think she needs to be in the MCU. I think she's gonna. I think that including her will put our Spider-Man in a trajectory that will ruin him for the MCU. Like, we do not need Peter Parker having a daughter. We don't need him having a family. That is not classic Spider-Man. That is not the Spider-Man we need in the MCU. This is an awful move. Even if it is Tobey Maguire's daughter and it's a multiversal thing, like, nah, get out of here.
Yeah. Spider-Girl looks cool, is cool. Don't need her in this movie though. Don't need her. And in my opinion, if you were ever going to use a girl to make money, you go with Spider-Gwen, no matter what, no matter who it is. Spider-Gwen is the person that you go with, no matter what. She's proven the fans love her already. Why would you go with Mayday Parker? I don't think she's Mayday Parker. I think she's someone that is going to be very important in Peter Parker's life, and that's where I think it's going to be. I don't necessarily think she's going to be Mayday Parker. That would be wild. To even do that. And then with the whole talk of this being a new beginning for Spider-Man, why would they put Mayday Parker in the story? It just doesn't add up, so yeah, I think this is crazy. This is crazy. But like, hey, if you want to do a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, 4 with Mayday Parker and Sony, go ahead, bro. I don't mind. So, oh my gosh. I forgot to add a topic. 1 second. It's in our document, but I forgot to add it. I'm going to add this really fast. Guys, this is going to be our next topic. Let me copy and paste this. 1 second, y'all. I apologize, y'all. Because I was like, where's it at? Okay. Now, this had me very frustrated earlier, bro. And I wanted to talk about this because it was talked about that Marvel Studios, apparently Tom Holland's Spider-Man is not signed to be on Avengers Doomsday, and they're actively trying to work on a deal with Sony to get this done. So I wanted to ask about your perspective about, like, why could it possibly be hard for Marvel Studios to get Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday? Because it really shocks me that he hasn't been signed on yet.
So it's really, the problem now is that the script is done. So if they are going to include him in the movie now, they're going to have to rework the whole script. Like, if they do have to retroactively do it, he's only going to be in the movie for bits and pieces, kind of like Avengers Endgame, where he was really only in it for the final battle for very limited screen time. So I don't see it happening. I really don't. I mean, maybe because he's the biggest character, like they do, decide to rework the script, but that's a lot considering they're filming right now. Like, so I don't know if they even can rework the script, even if they wanted to.
What if he was written already, with the expectation that he was going to be in this? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of
no way.
The way I'm feeling.
How could they make the movie? If he's in the movie, they can't make the movie without him. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but like they have actors that are coming in and out to film for a few months, and then they're gone, and people are coming in and out. He could come for 3 months and film whatever he has to film, and then go do Spider-Man.
But it's not like you just film his parts and add him in. If he's in the movie or if he's not in the movie, it changes everyone else's role in the movie. It changes everything that happens. It's a butterfly effect.
Yeah, but like I'm telling you, like he could, but like if he's already written in the film in the file, he could still come for like 3 months of film. Like that's how they do a lot of stuff, bro.
But they can't just decide to not have him at the last minute if he's in the file. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Because if they have him, if they have him written into the file, and then they have to take him out, that changes the course of the entire movie because he has a role in the movie.
Yeah.
He's not just filming, scenes. Those scenes are interconnected with other scenes and other things that go on. So you can't just, take a piece out, remove a piece in, and, have it fit nice and perfectly.
No, I agree. That is true. But my consensus is that, like, if they're trying to get him in, like, did they already write him in? Was there already a plot working with him already? Those are just the question I'm having. If you're trying to shoehorn him in, and I think it is also a risk not putting Spider-Man in this from the jump. You know what I mean?
I agree.
He could have been on the casting chair. That's ridiculous.
I 100% agree. I said that from day one.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I just don't know how they could do it at this point.
Yeah,
I think it's like too. I really do. I think it's too late.
Yeah, and if you don't do this Spider-Man movie better be generational, bro. Yeah. Show us why he was not in this file. But Doomsday should be in good hands regardless. But it is crazy you don't put Spider-Man in this. Actually, insanity. Yeah, and if it is, yeah, I don't know. It's stupid. Let's see. I really like the First Class, and I hope they're still young. I think we should give Wolverine a break and show off other characters that aren't Wolverine, X-Men, it's not just Wolverine. I disagree, bro. I think that you need Wolverine in the beginning stages of this team, bro. I think you need it for a popularity standpoint, yes. But Wolverine just makes the X-Men stories better, bro, in general. And to not have an integral character like that for even two files or for the first 5 years, I think that's a big loss for them. You know what I mean? And also think about this. Because they're coming in with a new Wolverine, fans that are attached to Hugh Jackman have to get used to this new guy. Why not put him in the first file? You know what I mean? So then he's here. We have faced the fire. People are mad, but then like fans are going to be used to him by that second or third file versus where you throw him in 5 years in, and it just causes a lot more. You know what I mean? Drama.
People are mad about this. Like, that's ridiculous.
I agree.
Come on, man. Bro, like, if you're mad that they are recasting Wolverine with, like, Hugh Jackman even said that he was done until they decided to do Deadpool and Wolverine. He's just older, man. They need someone young. It's a new X-Men. You know, the first X-Men movie came out 25 years ago. It's been a long time.
100%, bro. 100%. And like the X-Men, this X-Men team in the MCU, they need Wolverine, bro. I'm telling you, you will feel the absence of Wolverine.
Yeah,
you will feel it.
Yeah.
You need it. Like Wolverine isn't just there for for just grit. Like, he is an important character. Very important.
He really is.
He's
the most popular X-Man. Like, period.
Facts. The only Spider-Man I want to see is Tom with a reunion of Toby and Andrew's Secret Wars. That'd be funny. Wolverine to the X-Men is Snake Eyes to G.I. Joe. He's just too popular not to have him in the first movie. Bro, I love Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is awesome. I'm talking more about like the second movie be Storm and Wolverine, not the first, give him a small break. I don't think so, bro. I think you put Wolverine in automatically. Because I also do think the way that Marvel Studios is too, bro, is that they start off like from all of the projects that we've seen them acquire, people that have already, or teams that have already had their movies before, they like to start off these guys either established or a little established. So like we see that with Spider-Man Homecoming, he was a little established. With the Fantastic Four, bro, they're 4 years in. You know what I mean? Like they know what they got to do. So I think we're going to see an established team to an extent. And if you do an established team, you give us Wolverine. And I personally think that an X-Men origin movie is just not the route that they're going to go. Because Feige hates origin. Feige said himself he hates doing origin files. Plus, Feige worked on the X-Men stuff too. So, he had
that like the origin movie trend has been over for such a long time. And I think that's why it's always like just a little established, like Stevie was saying, because they don't want to do the origin story. So they go as early as they can right after the origin story. And, you absolutely need Wolverine. He's the most popular one. He is like the guy. So, yeah. But I got to say, on Spider-Man, like, I'm going to be disappointed if he's not in Avengers Doomsday. I really am.
Oh, yeah, bro. That's going to hurt the movie. It is.
Yeah. And they can't afford things like that right now. They 100%. Really can't. It's so crazy that like they didn't get this deal done. Like, you want to talk about the TV deal, like, okay, that's ridiculous because they're not going to put him in Daredevil Born Again to begin with. But not being able to put him into Avengers Doomsday is so crazy. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I hope this report's a lie. I hope it's cat. All right, next topic here. We're talking about some Damian Wayne. So, a little news came out about Damian Wayne, that Damian Wayne is expected to be the Robin in the Teen Titans movie. A lot of people were questioning, like, was this going to be a flashback where we get Dick as Robin, or Tim Drake, or or Jason Todd, or some other Robin character to lead this Teen Titans team. And it's looking like Damian Wayne is going to be the character that they're going to use for the Teen Titans movie. How do you feel about Damian Wayne being used in this?
My favorite Robin. I'm so happy about it. I think he is the most entertaining Robin. and I think he's the best one. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's smart. First off, because this is the kid that you're going to be with in Brave and the Bold. Like, so why would you go with another Robin? Like, yes, we are getting that. I think it's a Caped Crusaders where it's those two Robins. Where I think it's
Dynamic duo.
Sorry, I say Caped Crusader. We're getting dynamic duo with the two Robins. But like, if this is a main canon, movie to push the DCU forward, you gotta position Damian Wayne here. And I chose this image because I just want to say this. I want Blue Beetle on this team. I want Cyborg. Do not put Cyborg on the Justice League, for crying out loud. Like, start him with Teen Titans. Another character that is awesome. Raven. Raven is a really dark and deep character. And like,
super popular.
Bro, super popular character. And obviously we're getting a Starfire show, but that's gonna be awesome. And please, put Nightwing in this. Put Nightwing in this movie. I think if you use a team just like this would be awesome. I think this would be a fun cast. And obviously Beast Boy too. Everybody loves Beast Boy.
He's dope. So I think that this would do numbers. People love the Teen Titans. They love this roster. This is like a no-brainer.
Yeah. I said earlier. Can't be
the first big team movie though. That would be crazy.
I agree. I said earlier on my talk, I was saying, DC has what Marvel wants, right? DC has the best sidekicks ever. Like, their sidekicks are so cool. And Marvel wants these young Avengers champions crap. Like, DC have the sauce to give us a movie like Teen Titans, where they are a bunch of B, C-list characters and sidekicks other than like Robin in them, and so like this movie could do numbers. So this would be fun, bro. This would be so freaking fun. And James Gunn, show Marvel Studios how it's done. All right, show us how. We don't need freaking what's his name, Wiccan. We don't need these other people. Give us an actual powerhouse. You mean? So I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
Yeah. It's gonna be sick.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now, next topic here, and this is really, I really wanted you to talk about this because you tweeted about.
Yeah. So there are a number of good reasons for Dr. Doom to be in the post credit for Fantastic Four First Steps. But the biggest one that makes it pretty much a guarantee that we're going to see Fantastic Four post credit scene with Dr. Doom is the box office boost. Obviously, this movie needs to perform. It's more important that this movie performs than any other movie of Marvel's putting out this year. And could you imagine if people see this movie and walk out and tell their friends, Dr. Doom, RDJ Dr. Doom post-credit scene? That alone will do numbers on ticket sales. So we're 100% going to see it. Take it to the bank. Bet your house on it. Now, here's the other thing. This is not gambling advice, sir. But the other thing is that this is also the last movie we're seeing before Avengers Doomsday. So they need to have this movie get you hyped for Avengers Doomsday and Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. So because of that, we haven't met RDJ's Dr. Doom yet. This is their last chance for a place where it would feel appropriate. I know they have some other like random shows coming out or whatever. Don't expect to see Dr. Doom and Ironheart, okay? So you're gonna see Dr. Doom in the post-credit scene. This is their chance to introduce us to Dr. Doom before Avengers Doomsday. This is their chance to have the biggest post-credit scene of all time that sells tickets. We're 100% going to see him. I can't wait. Oh, man, it's going to be so sick. I also really am curious to hear how he sounds because when I read comics, I love Dr. Doom. I am a Dr. Doom fanatic, probably the biggest Dr. Doom fan on the internet. Anyway, when I read Dr. Doom, I read his voice as a combination of Darth Vader and Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. When you read Dr. Doom, what does his voice sound like to you? And what do you expect it to sound like in the movie? Because I'm curious. I know, you know, because you read a comic and you know how you read it, but everyone else reads it probably differently. So I'm curious to hear how you read Doctor Doom and how that differs from how I read Doctor Doom and what your expectations are for Doctor Doom's voice. Because you know that voice is going to go crazy. They are going to cook.
His voice for me is like a mix between three people: Hugo Weaving's Red Skull, Ultron, and with a robot vocal coder on top of it, with like a little bit of a Greekish accent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like I don't read him with an accent.
Yeah, it's not like it's kind of like how like you know how like with a what can I use? Oh, like yo, I was like watching the New York Knicks. I was dying, and Carl Anthony Towns he changes his voice like every interview, but he was trying to talk like he was from he was trying to talk like he's from there, and so like I view it as that how like certain words you pronounce a certain ways, but it's not like you know what I'm saying, but it's not like you know it's not like it's a real accent,
right?
So like
right.
I feel like certain ways that he might pronounce things might be very different, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, but like I definitely have like a robotic voice though in my head whenever I hear him.
Cool.
Like yo, what is that song? I think it's by it's a song, and it's very ironic, but there was a song in Iron Man 1. I'm not sure if it's aged. Hold on, I'm about to put it up right now. Hold on 1 second. Cause now I'm like, all right, hold on, Iron Man. It's an Iron Man soundtrack. Iron Man. All right, let me see. Iron Man soundtrack. Cause I remember, cause like in the actual soundtrack, it says I am Iron Man, like in it. And I was like, dude, I will have to I'll find it like another time. But there's like this robotic voice in that track, and that's how I read like Doom's voice. But anyways, Doom has to show up in this, bro. There's no way. And if they put the Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, they're definitely putting Doom in this. And there's no way, bro. There's no way you don't put Doom in. Oh my gosh, I would be tight if they don't put Doom. And you don't just put him in here. You give us a 5-minute scene because we haven't seen him ever, bro. And you got to give fans something to hold on to for the next 6 to 7 months. So what you do is you give us a 5-minute scene, bro. Yeah. Give us a 10-minute scene for crying out loud. I don't care, dude. Put him in the and they did just have reshoots not too long ago. So maybe they did some reshoots on the Avengers Doomsday campus where they did Thunderbolts 2 or something like that. But we need like a 5-minute scene with dialogue, the whole 9 yards.
We need it.
Yes, like there's no compromise there. And you do that to get your fans excited because we have not seen Doctor Doom this whole entire time.
And you dropped the ball on so many things. Like the multiversal saga is going to go down as a flop. This is like the only thing you have to potentially change that. And you need people to be excited for the story going into the upcoming Avenger cycle. And the only way to do that right now is really Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom's it. You know, your Avengers roster is weak. We haven't met Fantastic Four yet. We've met the new Avengers, which they're cool, but they're nothing like the OG Avengers in terms of like quality or the way, like, I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like there's no wiggling around with this one, bro. We like give us that crap, dude, or I might crash out. Honestly. All right, guys, we're gonna go through these next 3 topics, and then we're gonna answer all y'all questions at the end of the show. But keep commenting. All right, now let's talk about Cynthia and Revo. Okay, so a few months ago, Cynthia and we talked about this, but how we thought it was insane for her to play Storm. A report came out, I think today or yesterday, that Cynthia and Revo playing Storm is a very possible thing. So has your mind changed at all on Cynthia playing Storm?
Absolutely not. I someone was commenting at me about it, and I actually like this girl, but she was, saying, "Oh, I think she would be good," something like that. No, stop it. She is not going to be Storm. She wouldn't make a good Storm, and you can't sell someone who makes like those touchy, mannerisms and noises that she did with Ariana Grande in the Wicked press tour. You can't sell that as like a boss, strong superhero. Okay. And if I can't buy that Cynthia Erivo could be a strong superhero, she definitely can't play Storm.
Cynthia Erivo is a very talented human being. She's one of the greatest vocalists I've ever heard in my life. She is a really great actress. Not taking that away from her. She is not Storm. And this is coming from someone who's seen more than one project that she's been in. She is not Storm. There's a bunch of other actresses that I would take before her that are black. I mean, just being real. And I also think that this is like this casting would not reflect what the other rumored cast are. This would not reflect what they're trying to do at all. Where they're getting actors that are kind of under the radar, and I do think it's to avoid a situation like this. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of other African American, like the girl that plays Nakia in Black Panther, I would take her as Storm over this. I mean, she's a way better actress than Cynthia. If you're looking at a character like that, just saying, like, she's a way better actress. So yeah, there's a lot of other, and I saw some other girls that were being like that, talked about saying that they wanted to play Storm, and there were people that I did not hear of, and that's what I want, bro. You get someone that is unknown, that is willing to steal the hearts of fans. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that Wanda was the worst thing to happen to the MCU, because now we have a lot of like theater geeks, and they are going to go crazy about the idea of someone like Cynthia Erivo playing Storm. But we can't have that. No, like absolutely not. This will not fly. It will not work. And you could like her all you want. That's fine. But she is not built for this.
Yeah. And people forget that like Elizabeth Olsen is a really good actress. Like she is like really, really good. And when she took the Scarlet Witch role, like that this role is what blew her up to be like the celebrity that she is now. Like Cynthia Erivo is already coming with a lot of fire, good and bad. Yeah. And when you're trying to promote a team like this, you don't need that. You like, I think getting fire, like there is a difference between Robert Pattinson being casted as Batman and people being pissed off about it, and Brie Larson being cast as Captain and people being angry that she said crap in a press interview. Those are two different types of hate. And I would rather deal with the hate of a casting like a David Corenswet rather than a Brie Larson. And with Cynthia, you just don't know what you're going to get, bro. You just don't know.
She's just not the right fit for the role. That's all it is. And like, this shouldn't be rocket science.
100%. All right, now I want to talk about some MCU Phase 6 rumors that have been going around. Look, I am not saying that these are true or fake, but the way that we are is we report things, and just in case if it comes out to be true, you guys know that we talked about it here first. So this is more for like just for digital footprint, and you know we're going to save this for so if it does come true. Now I want to say this because this is my personal thing. James McDowell, the guy that made these tweets, hear me clear, bro. If I find out that none of these things come out at San Diego Comic-Con, I choose you, and I'm gonna cook you for 30 minutes straight in a solo video about you lying and making up news. I promise you, and I'm serious. I have it saved in my folder. I am waiting for July, and if this is not true, bro, I'm gonna cook you. So
I do think it's not true, and I'll tell you why.
All right, go ahead.
They are not calling it the mutants. Guaranteed, that's not happening.
Oh no! This is just a graphic that I just got.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a graphic I want. Yeah, I just thought it was cool because I had.
Did he say it was called the mutants? Where'd you get that from?
No. This is just a graphic that I just saw online, and I thought it was cool because it had Miles in it and all that stuff. Yeah.
So well, someone had to title it the mutants. Who did it?
No. I'm saying someone made this graphic online, and I'm just using it as a cover for this. Like, this isn't the actual graphic that this James guy made. You know what I mean?
But so the movie schedule, who made that? Not like, the graphic, the schedule. James McDowell.
Oh, for this, yeah. James. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so where did the mutants come from? The guy that made the graphic, or did it come from James McDowell?
Wait, question. Are you talking about the mutants image in this graphic?
I forget the image. I'm
Okay.
asking you, who came up with the title The Mutants? Was it James McDowell?
Oh no, that has always been a bit because I think Kevin Feige said mutants when he announced Blade, and so ever since he said that, everybody's been saying that that's going to be the name.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, bro. I was just so confused right there. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the graphic.
Okay.
My bad.
I still think it's kind of fake though, because if it was real, he would know it was called X-Men.
There was no way he would name it the mutants, like people. But yeah. But all right, so let's talk about the first thing with this. Okay, so the first thing is that he says, I'm told that Marvel will announce the rest of Phase 6 at their San Diego Comic-Con panel, and that November 6, 2026 date that's already on the calendar is for the third Doctor Strange film, which will be called Doctor Strange in the Incursions of Insanity. Okay, and so apparently he thinks that this is going to be announced at Comic-Con this June. Now, when I first thought about this, I thought about, okay, like let's just say theoretically it did happen. Maybe this will be the groundwork of the Illuminati and them like going against incursions and all of that stuff. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that a project like this like could work if it was to come out after Avengers?
After Avengers
Doomsday? Yeah.
It would be weird. Like that would be so weird because Doomsday is supposed to bring us to Secret Wars. So if we're still worried about incursions before Secret Wars, I guess maybe like I feel like a lot of people don't know when to recognize that their own theory is speculation. And I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to do that right here, because this is one of those things that you could instantly, intellectual inferiors can't do what I'm about to do. So, and it's not even that brilliant. It's just basic stuff. Here's the thing. If you read Secret Wars, in Secret Wars issue number 1, the final incursion takes place between Earth 616 and Earth 1610, the Ultimates. Now, pretty much the consensus theory is that the Earth 1610 is going to be the Fox X-Men universe.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that, by the way. Now, and it was my theory before I realized it was the fan. But the thing is that I always thought Avengers Doomsday would be the first issue of Secret Wars because it's the final incursion. They call it Doomsday. So that's what I always thought. Now, this would change my theory because I don't believe my theory is fact because it hasn't happened yet. Even though I believe it, I also recognize that it's my own speculation. A lot of people, when they get new information and it doesn't match up with their theory, they're like, oh, that can't be true because that's I believe something different that hasn't happened yet. I'm predicting something else, so that can't be true. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so my point is that if they're going to do a Doctor Strange 3 and it's going to be after Avengers Doomsday, it's possible that Secret Wars, they could do the final incursion in the beginning of the movie. And Avengers Doomsday could be something entirely different than what I had already predicted it to be. And if that's the case, maybe Doctor Strange 3 and the Incursions of Insanity, I'm sure it won't be insane because the multiverse could potentially work. But I still think it's really weird. And like, of all people, I like Doctor Strange, don't get me wrong. He's not one of my favorites, but like, you're going to do a Doctor Strange movie in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars? Like, really? You know, I feel like he dodges when everyone's like, why Ant-Man? Like, that's how I feel about Doctor Strange.
Right. See, like the only way I feel like this movie could work is if it was a prequel to Doomsday. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way that at least in my
Yeah.
head, I could like it would have to be like a prequel to like where he's seeing all of these things happen, but then he can't like stop it or something like that. Like it would have to be a prequel to
Or
some
like
type of
a
degree.
tie-in comic that
Yeah.
is essential reading. Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like the second I heard this, I just thought of New Avengers off the rip. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
the fake one that guy sent, but the real New Avengers from Hickman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's what instantly came into my mind. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the next one, I think the title is also stupid.
Which
So this is the next file that this guy says because there's four of them. There's
Okay.
there's four files. The next file that he said will be announced is a fifth Thor movie in Phase 6, and it's going to be called Thor Hammerfall.
Okay.
And this is where I don't and like I don't know what the context of this movie would be. So I'm just gonna ask you, like, do you like so let's just say theoretically this is true. Do you even like the idea of doing movies in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, like all of these files? Like, do you think that will work?
I want more movies from Marvel, so like I like it, but I don't think it's the right thing to do because I think that you're taking a risk. These movies could be bad and they could hurt the reception and or box office of Avengers Doomsday and or Secret Wars. And you may as well like I also think it's odd because to me it's very evident that Marvel wants to stick to the formula that they did with Infinity War and Endgame. And when I say it's evident, and what makes me believe they want to stick to that formula are a couple of things. And so you know why I believe it. Maybe you'll believe it too after I tell you. I don't know, but I like to be transparent with the pathway of my thoughts. So basically, when they announced that one movie is coming out a full year after the other, and it was clear that one was the sequel to the next, that's when I started thinking that way. And then even recently, when they said that, and the Russos are doing it, but when they said that Avengers Doomsday is going to be 2.5 hours and Avengers Secret Wars is going to be 3 hours, that was like, okay, they really like they're looking at it from like a number level formula, and they are making decisions to copy what they did that was so successful with Infinity War doing so well and everyone, dying to see Endgame. The hype was just through the roof. It ended on a cliffhanger, and then Endgame came in and was another $1 billion movie. So of course they want to copy that formula, and it seems like they are looking at it from under like a microscope in a lab, copying that formula.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you don't put out a movie in between. Did a movie come out in between Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's what I was. Okay. So that's what I was thinking. Maybe they do. But if they're doing Doctor Doom and the Incursions, that is a tie-in. Ant-Man and the Wasp had nothing to do with Infinity War or Endgame.
And would Doctor Doom be in that? I mean, that's another question. It's like I don't see that happening.
Yeah. It's a bit of an oddball, and it wouldn't be in line with copying the formula.
100%. And then the last two files that they have is, which I hate this next one, World War Hulk. I'm good. I'm cool for World War Hulk.
Yeah.
And
the less Mark Ruffalo Hulk, the better.
Yeah. And then the last thing is, he said, I'm been told, right, that they are all set to announce Secret Wars will have 2 parts, and that the third Avengers movie out of these 3 will probably have a different name than part 2. That's the last set of news that he said about Avengers. So now I gave this some thought too, because I do think this could possibly happen, because I could see something to where Secret Wars is the ending story, but what if they used Avengers? And this is just a thought I'm throwing out here, not saying like I'm putting credence on it, not putting my stamp on it, But like, what if they try to use Avengers to explain like what the future is going to be? You know what I mean? I don't know, but if they would they divide Secret Wars into a 2-part like file of 2 hours and 30 each? That sounds a little much to me.
Yeah. I just think that if you could divide, like, if you could do 2 end games and you knew both of them were going to be quality and both of them were going to be $billion movies, like, you would do it. You know, it's the Harry Potter thing all over again when they did Deathly Hallows. Like, you know, it was 1 book, but let's do 2 movies.
Yeah, fair.
So that's
that's a great. You just cooked right. That's a great point.
Thank you.
That's a great point. I never thought about that.
You know,
yeah.
Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. You know,
True.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's against the formula, so I think it could go either way. I think that there's a chance that they probably thought about the part 2 and they're like, it's a risk we don't want to take.
Yep. And then last topic of the night, we're going to get, and then we're going to answer out in Winston's chat out here. Stephen Yen, okay, is considered being a role for Spider-Man, and a lot of people are saying he's going to be Mr. Negative. Would you like Stephen Yen as Mr. Negative, or
I don't know him well enough to say, but I love Mr. Negative, and I'm so excited that it seems like we're getting Mr. Negative. So I don't know. He looks like he could probably play the role well, but I hate to judge that off looks. So I wish if you have any recommendations of something that he's in and good in and that I should watch, let me know. Throw it in the comments. I would love to get some recommendations and see if I think he's worthy for Mr. Negative, because I think Mr. Negative is one of my favorite villains. He's great. He's
in The Walking Dead, I think. And then he has a Netflix movie too. I think that went pretty big too. I think it was a Netflix movie. I'll have to search it up, but nah. I only know Stephen Yen from his voice acting because he's the voice of Invincible. He does Mark, so he's really great at that. But Mark's still like a young adult.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't know. I don't know, but if they're choosing him, then he obviously, he was almost Sentry, so he has some level of talent apparently. So see what happens. So all right, now we're gonna answer your chats.
And it's clear, by the way, that Marvel is in talks with him. That's another thing, because we saw concept art of him as Sentry. It's 100% that they were talking to him at some point. So it's very likely that they like him and they're looking for another role with him, and could be Mr. Negative.
1000%. I really like Damian Wayne. Just don't skip Tim, please. He's my favorite and the smartest Robin and he's too often ignored. Yeah, man. He's probably going to get skipped for right now. They're going with Dame.
Yeah, and they're not going to. If they're going to go with Damian, they're still going to have Dick Grayson. It seems like we're not getting Tim. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm cool off of Tim. Damian is Robin of Teen Titans. What I can see is Gunn going the new 52 DC animated universe movie lineup of 2 adults and 5 teens, meaning Nightwing, Starfire, Blue Beetle, Raven, Damian, Donna. Ooh, that'll be fun. Also, hope they don't skip Jason like in some animated movies. Red you talking about what's the name?
Red Hood. Red Hood.
Yeah. Red Hood would be awesome. That'd be fire.
Yeah.
Put Cyborg on the Titan. Yes, bro. I agree. I 100% agree. If Dr. Doom is in the post-credit scene, James needs to put Batman in the post-credit scene. Facts, bro. Fight fire with fire. Yeah. And just imagine, like, if the same way James Gunn incorporated the original Superman theme into this Superman, imagine if he uses like the Batman 89 theme, like and mixes it in. That will make fans lose their heads. Bro.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
When I think of Doom's voice, I think what I saw in Avengers Earth, My Mighty Heroes. I
gotta have to check that out.
I don't remember. Speaking of the whole origin story thing, I personally think that Jason Todd should already be Red Hood by the time Brave and the Bold comes out. I don't know. Want to see the whole Batman doesn't know Jason is Red Hood fiasco. I definitely think he is going to be Red Hood at this point. If Damian is the Robin, then he has to be at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
She is a good actress from what I hear, but no. Don't F up Storm. Facts, bro. She's a great actress, but she's made for musicals. You know what I mean? That's the kind of movies that, like, Cynthia is made for those types of movies, not for this. Sorry for swearing, by the way. I get a little carried away. It's the Irish in me. It's all good, bro. It's all good. As long as you're not ghetto, that's all that matters. All right. Like once we see Brave and the Bold, Grayson is already Nightwing, Jason is already Red Hood, and Batman already went through under the Red Hood. Tim is already Red Robin. Everyone established. Only Damian gets the origin. Facts. The Queen from Black Panther could have at one point. Angela Bassett would have been fire as Storm back in the day. Facts. And Hunger Almighty, let's see.
Great call. She
right?
Crushed it.
Oh yeah, bro. Scooper's gonna scoop. She's in Mission Impossible, right?
She was in which one was it? Fallout.
Yeah. I thought they would go for Doctor Strange. Time runs out. That's what a lot of people thought. But I think the multiverse of madness hate really like shifted what they were going to do with Doctor Strange, which is wild because it wasn't even his fault. Like it was other characters. It wasn't.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. Don't forget,
screwed him over.
Captain Marvel was in between. I forgot about that. She did come out in between Infinity War and Endgame.
2 movies.
Facts. That movie did $1 billion too, dog. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Maybe part of it was that it benefited from Marvel just being on such a hot streak coming out of Infinity War. I also think it benefited from like the women empowerment movement of its time. There are a couple things in its factor that I think helped it. And not to say that it's like knocking it. All things, the way everything happens in alignment of stars. Some of the stars are in your control. Some of the stars are not in your control. And they're just the circumstances that you're dealing with. And that's how success works. Yeah,
I mean, Black Panther had a similar thing too. You know what I mean? Like it just came out at the perfect time, bro.
Right.
Just
exactly.
That's the perfect time. Perfect timing. Something indie called Minari, I think, features him in a dramatic role. I hear he's good in that. Okay. I think you're talking about Steven Yen. Yup, he's playing as a struggling Asian family in America during the 50s. Oh, bet. Stephen Young and Beef was pretty funny. Okay, cool.
Thank you. I'm gonna check that out. I've heard of Beef.
Facts. Superman post credit is a cafe scene with him and Batman. That would be actually stupid. Jason will be at the very least be already there. Yeah, I'm expecting Red Hood vibes. If they save it into under the Red Hood story, that would be crazy. But I kind of see the whole Bat family being there. So all right. Just want to say, man, thank you guys for joining us on this show. Please have a great day. Follow us on TikTok at Comic Cuts, at Superherocuts, on X at Comic Cuts, at Superherocuts. Same thing on Instagram. And we just hope you guys have a great week. Stay crispy and peace out, y'all.